Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode number 3 of our EAFC 26 career mode here with West Ham United, and we're actually starting off looking at a new feature within the career mode of EAFC 26, which is the manager market. I don't know too much about it, to be fair, and it's not something we're going to come across straight away, but just looking through it, it looks like it's possibly one where it keeps an eye on obviously managers or jobs and teams that are at risk or potentially have openings completely. It tells us obviously what their dominant tactic is, it tells us what their job security is, and it also tells us what our hiring likelihood is, and I'm assuming that's based on obviously where we are currently, how we're performing, etc. So obviously one to keep an eye on going forward, but obviously it's one of those where if you're, I suppose, managing a League 2 team, the League 2 teams might be likely to obviously apply for the job, but then obviously the Premier League teams are very unlikely, if not impossible, to apply. So hopefully there is a sort of element of realism in there, and it looked like it did allow us to scroll through pretty much every league within the career mode spectrum and look at all the teams in there. They weren't obviously all real managers, even the English Championship didn't have the real managers in there, so that's a shame. And obviously hopefully if this part of it does take off in future EAFC career modes, and obviously potentially they could get licensing for more managers, but it doesn't look like they're all in all the leagues at the minute. But it's a cool little feature, and as I say, it's something we will keep an eye on going forward. And just nothing I wanted to mention for anyone who potentially hasn't played EAFC 26 yet, or potentially has played it and hasn't noticed. You will notice during this game, obviously in our opening game of this episode against Crystal Palace, underneath the player name bars at the bottom, obviously you've got the home team on the left and the away team on the right hand side. You'll see it tells us for every player, obviously when they're on the ball or you're in control of, it tells us what their skill moves are and also their sort of right and left foot. So it has obviously the strong foot as the highlighted foot, and then the weaker foot, it has actually a bar which tells us how comfortable they are with that weaker foot. So again, just a little thing which obviously has always been a case with skill moves and weaker foot, and obviously weak foot star ratings, but just a cool little feature obviously to keep it going during the in-game, so that you can obviously see which player has what. Obviously if you're not sure what foot a player is, it keeps it in-game so you can see what it is at the time, which again I think is a really cool feature. So as I always say, obviously let me know your thoughts on obviously these new features in EAFC 26 down below. But obviously going back to this match in the career mode with West Ham, we are actually currently at 1-1 in the second half. It was Crystal Palace who took the lead with a goal from Jean-Philippe Mateta, and again couldn't celebrate. He just ran back to centre circle, which seems to be an ongoing issue, so hopefully that is fixed, as I've mentioned before. But we did get an equaliser through James Ward-Prowse with a really good shot with his right foot, and it did bring the scores to 1-1 obviously into half time. And then in the second half, it was a real back and forth match, to be fair. You saw a good shot there from Jared Bowen, got played through, was through on goal, but unfortunately with his right foot couldn't steer the ball past Dean Henderson in the Crystal Palace goal, and it did go out for a corner kick, which James Ward-Prowse, a goal scorer for us in this game, will take. Swings it in with that right foot of his, but unfortunately held by Dean Henderson. He looks to play it long early towards Jean-Philippe Mateta. He looks and sees a space for Ismail Assar on that right hand side. Ismail Assar, obviously a really strong player, really fast player, gets the shot away, but unfortunately for him, Alphonse Areola was there and keeps the ball out the back of the net and behind for a corner. But going into stoppage time, into added time, it was Crystal Palace who got the shot there. Eddie Nketiah with a decent shot from close range, but once again Areola getting his body in the way and tipping it around the post for a corner. And then from the resulting corner, a little bit of ping pong here. The Crystal Palace players trying to keep it alive. It falls to Sarr, it falls into Chris Richards, who plays it back to Pino, their new boy, plays it into Ismail Assar. The defender dives in, can't quite get the ball in. Ismail Assar smacks that one in off the inside of the post to grab his first goal of the game, his second goal of the season from that graphic there, and give Crystal Palace the 2-1 lead. And obviously with this being in stoppage time, there wasn't any time for the game to carry on, and unfortunately we did lose the game right in the dying seconds away, at home should I say, to Crystal Palace 2-1. So still no victories in the league this season, still just at 1 point on the board from a Tottenham match in the last game. And then coming off back of that, we did actually get 2 sales. Guido Rodriguez and you will see in a minute Andy Irving both sold. I mentioned in the last game obviously how it looked like they handed transfer requests in without us really knowing. We had a few bids and I didn't accept any offers. The board obviously just accepted them based on the situation, but it does leave us £66.5 million in the budget. Obviously no transfers in this summer transfer window, but Coming into January, obviously, we'll look to use those funds to strengthen the squad where possible. But the next game we go into, the second game of the episode, is the next round of the Carabao Cup. You will remember we beat West Brom 1-0 to get through to this next round of the Carabao Cup, and we do get rewarded with a home tie against another Championship team in Coventry City. Once again, changing the team up, obviously looking to rest the first team players and give some other players a chance. Still a couple of first teamers in there. Callum Wilson starting this game, Jarrod Bowen starting this game, Aaron Wan-Bissaka starting as well, but definitely some changes in there. We've got Freddie Potts in the midfield, a good young midfielder. We've got Fabianski playing in goal, veteran of the Premier League, playing in goal for us as well. But we knew against Coventry, although they were a Championship team, although we should in theory win this game at home, we knew that they were one of probably the better teams in the Championship, with some of their players, Sakamoto, Haji Wright in there, and Jack Rodoni as well. They've got some really good players in there, and it was Coventry have the better of the open opportunities. Haji Wright there with an opportunity, but Fabianski coming out, making himself big and getting a block on the shot to tip it around the post for a corner. And the ball in from Eccles towards Ephraim Mason-Clark, can't quite get there, falls out to Bidwell. Bidwell plays it to that man Jack Rodoni, plays back to Bidwell, and a decent shot from Bidwell on that left foot, but once again Fabianski was there, good reaction save to tip it around the post for another corner kick, which this time we played in by Jack Rodoni. Plays it short into Eccles, Eccles plays it back to Rodoni, Rodoni looks to swing on him towards Mason-Clark, can't quite get there, the Coventry attacker. The ball eventually falls to Kitchen, but a poor shot from him falls to Max Kilman, and then we do get an opportunity to break here. Freddie Potts playing the ball to Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen playing it to Somerville. We've spoken about obviously needing a little bit more pace and Somerville being able to provide that for us. He plays it into Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen with a really good shot of that right foot of his, but unfortunately saved by the Coventry goalkeeper to tip around the post, and nothing came from that. So we go into the half-time break at 0-0, but starting off the second half, just a couple of minutes in, Magessa, again another player who we brought in who's not really featuring in the first minute, bar the odd sub appearance. He gets a good shot, but unfortunately saved by the goalkeeper. And then from a resulting corner, Paqueta swings the ball in towards Magessa, can't quite get anything on it, but it falls to Paqueta once again, gets it into Callum Wilson, back to Freddie Potts. Callum Wilson picks it up again, a decent shot from him on the turn, but once again saved by the Coventry goalkeeper to tip it around for another corner for us, which once again came to nothing. But just a couple of minutes later, Jarrod Bowen's poor pass into Somerville got intercepted, but Jarrod Bowen was quickest to react, pinches the ball off a Coventry defender who was a bit lazy on the ball there, didn't quite know what was going on, and Jarrod Bowen, from point blank range, no one around him, slotted that ball calmly into the back of the net to give us a 1-0 lead. Didn't obviously feature in the West Brom game, so it's his first appearance in the Carabao Cup and his first goal, as you saw from that graphic, and it does give us this 1-0 lead, which we need to obviously defend now going towards the end of the game. It was Coventry who were building on their opportunities, good couple of shots there from that phase of play, but fortunately Fabianski was there to keep it out. And then we decided to bring another one of our youngsters on, George Urphy, coming on in attacking midfield for Lucas Paqueta. Obviously just give Paqueta a break, obviously he is one of our main players, we want him fit for Premier League, and it was a good opportunity to bring another youngster into this team and see what he could do. But again, it was Coventry who were really building here. Another decent header from Haji Wright there, but fortunately wide of the post, and then Jack Rodoni does manage to break through the defence there, but once again a fantastic save from Fabianski. And to be fair, the goalkeeping looks really good in this game. We've seen how well Areola's played in this game, or in this save so far, and Fabianski's obviously carried that on in this cup game here, and we do manage to obviously keep that clean sheet intact for now. But we do get a good chance towards the end of the game, Callum Wilson with a chance there, but unfortunately dragged his shot wide, and then into the last couple of seconds of the game, it's Sakamoto down the wing, can't quite get the cross in, and the game does end with a 1-0 victory for us at home at the London Stadium to put us through to the next round of the Carabao Cup, and a really good victory. Fans were pleased with it, the players were pleased with it, and I was obviously buzzing with it as well. And although we haven't managed to get a win in the league this season, we've still only managed to get about 1 point from that game against Tottenham to keep going through the cup competitions, especially the Carabao Cups. Really good for us, and obviously we are through to the next round, so we'll see who we get in that competition. Hopefully we can continue to progress in there, but before any of that takes place, we need to play back in the Premier League, the final game of the episode, and it is at the newest stadium in the Premier League, and it is the Hill Dickinson Stadium in Merseyside, away to Everton. So we knew it was going to be a difficult game, obviously with a crowd behind Everton in their new stadium, but obviously we knew it was an opportunity against a team that we're probably fairly matched up against, to be fair. They weren't playing Dewsbury Hall, they weren't playing Jack Grealish in this game either, so we knew man for man we were probably fairly evenly matched with Everton, so we knew we had an opportunity to do something in this game. And we did get a chance early from James Ward-Prowse, but unfortunately saved by the keeper. And then Everton got a chance there from another one of their new boys, Tyler Dibbling, but once again Areola was there, made himself big and blocked the shot to turn it out for a corner kick. And from a resulting corner, eventually found its way towards Tarkowski, but Areola was there, claimed the ball with his hands, and then played a long kick towards Fulkrug, and that's what Fulkrug's there for. That's what he's best at, being that strong man, getting those flick-ons. Jared Bowen carried on his run, looked like he might have got tackled by Jared Brunthwaite there, but Jared Bowen kept cool, kept calm, fired it past his England teammate Jordan Pickford in the Everton goal to give us a 1-0 lead and to get his third goal of the season in 6 appearances. And Jared Bowen is absolutely on fire at the minute, and we all know how the song goes. We won't sing it now, but Jared Bowen on absolute fire now, and really good to see him get that goal and give us this 1-0 lead. And we kept pushing, to be fair. We got a decent corner here towards Jared Bowen. He gets the initial header, ball eventually falls towards Tadibo, but he couldn't quite get a header, and then Everton had an opportunity to break. You see the defender steps up, Tierno Barry, the new boy for Everton up front, does get a little bit of break of play here. Kilman's trying to catch him, Kilman dives in, Barry turns the other way, Barry fires it past the goalkeeper, and it brings the scores back to 1-0, back to level playing field. And once again, no celebration other than running into the centre circle. So again, another fix the EA needs to do. But obviously a 1-1 at this stage of the game, so unfortunately we couldn't keep that victory, and unfortunately things were going to get a little bit worse for us here. And a little bit of ping pong, James Ward-Prowse loses the ball, it finds itself to Barry again, Kilman dives in, and unfortunately the referee does blow the whistle for a penalty for Everton for that challenge from Max Kilman on Barry, the Everton striker. And you'll see from a replay, I think he gets the ball. Once again, comment down below what you think. Was that a penalty, or am I right to be aggrieved with that one? Because from the looks to me, it looked like he got the ball, to be fair, so I don't agree with it. But obviously we still need to try and save it because it had been given, but unfortunately Barry did manage to get a second of the game, fires it into that far corner. Areola, although he stretched and dived the right way, couldn't get a fingertip on it, and Barry, who looks like he's in really good form, to be fair, 6 appearances for him this season, and that's his 5th goal of the season. Obviously 2 of those coming in this game, but looks like he's in good form for Everton, so he's obviously going to keep propelling Everton. If he carries on scoring, he's going to keep them up towards the top end of the table. But unfortunately we did go into half time at 2-1, and then Everton got a really good opportunity here. It falls to Roll, another one of their new signings, but unfortunately in an empty net he couldn't quite get it on target, and he did put the ball wide of the post, and the scores did stay at 2-1. And then an opportunity for ourselves, Somerville plays it out to Ward-Prowse with a good shot from the edge of the box, but unfortunately Jordan Pickford tips it around the post with his fingertips, and the scores did stay at 2-1. And we knew we had to make some changes. Wan-Bissaka, Fulkrug and Somerville, I think it was, who all came off in that game, and we obviously needed to make the changes, try and get back level in this game, and we did get a chance here. Fernandez looks to play the ball in, Callum Wilson's there, and Callum Wilson, who just come on the pitch for obviously Nicholas Fulkrug, did get a goal, just tapped it into the back of the net, and he gets his 2nd goal of the season. 6 appearances, obviously not many of those starts, because obviously we have been playing Bowen and Fulkrug as our 2 main attackers here, but obviously substitute appearances count towards that as well, and it is his 2nd goal of the game, and he is in really good goal scoring form, to be fair. When we had a really good opportunity right at the end there for Somerville to score the winner, unfortunately went for a little chip, was expecting Pickford to come out, but unfortunately didn't. He stood tall, and the scores did stay at 2-2, which is unfortunately how the game ended. So it's our 2nd point of the season. We'll definitely take it. It's better than obviously losing, and it's one of those away to Everton. As I said, we are evenly matched, so a draw is probably a fair result. And then obviously looking at the table, Liverpool top of the league, City, Villa, Arsenal, Chelsea, all the teams you would expect to be up towards the top are up the top. Manchester United down in 15th, which at the minute is no surprise to anyone, and we are unfortunately down in 19th with those 2 points off safety of a relegation zone. But that's going to bring the episode to an end. As always, please comment any suggestions or thoughts down below. Please subscribe to the channel to keep following this journey. Please like the video to show some support, to show me that it's doing well. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.